welcome to Euro Camping Cars. This is Sally and I'm here with Debra. She's one of our customers, long-standing customers. Debra, how long have you had a vehicle with us?
I think this would have been my third year. If I'd been able to come over, this would have been my full third year. So I bought in the spring.
You bought in the spring of, must have been 2018.
Yes,
Okay.
But the year before that, 2017 was the year that I rented.
Oh, did you?
So we can include that one there. So I had 3 full years of roaming around Europe in a camper. But the first one was a rental.
And was that a good idea to rent first?
Oh, absolutely, because you have to see if you enjoy that lifestyle. I mean, you're either going to love it or I don't know that you'd hate it, but it just might not work for you. So I thought that it was safest. I never even considered buying one until the day I handed in the keys from my rental. And I thought, I loved that so much that I'm going to want to do this a lot. And so as soon as I came back to the USA, I started to really feel into the idea of buying one. I really did.
The vehicle that you rented, was that the one that you ended up buying, or did you buy something different?
No, I kind of decided that I wanted to buy a brand new one.
But was it the same style or was it a different style?
Yes, I bought pretty much the same one. Mm-hmm.
And what is it you got?
Oh, geez, what's it called? A Knaus
and
a Fiat together. What do you call that one? It's the Fiat engine with the Knaus body.
I'll have to look it up. Is it something like a 600 MEG or something like that?
Yeah, there's some letters and numbers there. It's the Sky TI or, it's been a full year since I've seen my camper. And so I've forgotten her proper name.
I'll have to look up your records and find out exactly what it is that you bought. But what is it you liked about your vehicle?
Well, I guess you have to be geared towards the simple life, like not having extraneous of a lot of things. I mean, we have that in our everyday life, I think, prior to the idea of having a camping car and roaming around in it. And I like that it's small and it doesn't have a lot for me to take care of like you have in your home. I can just come into my camper and I have my vehicle. It takes me around. It literally replaces the idea of needing a rental car on a vacation. So you have your car, you have your hotel. Yeah. So I don't have to figure out on my vacation, where do I want to go? Number one, you have to lock into where you want to go before you come, if it's a normal vacation. And then not only do you have to decide where you want to go on this trip, but you have to then find accommodation. So the camping car gives me unbelievable freedom. I mean, I'm to the point now when I arrive, I don't often know where I want to go because I know I already have my rental car. I already have my hotel with a bathroom and a kitchen. So I don't even have to pick my restaurants out. I don't have to pick anything out. I can just start driving.
And France is really good for wild camping, isn't it? It's really good for motorhomes. If you're a beginner.
Yeah, and I've kind of extended out into Bavaria and Slovenia, northern Italy, all of Portugal, and northern Spain, I would say, just in the last 2.5 years. And I've seen that, and Switzerland, and Austria, sorry. And Austria. So I have seen that unbelievable ease of travel in all of those countries. Especially because of the app, Park per Night and Camper Contact and France Passion Network. Between those 3 things and TripAdvisor and a phone that actually works with a SIM card in it. You have to have a phone that's connected to the internet. And I think if you have all of those things, you can literally go anywhere and not even know where you're going to sleep that night. You can let it unfold in a way that I have never had adventure living in any other place quite like that. And now I'm addicted to it because I just love that freedom.
So that's the lifestyle that appeals to you then?
Yeah, and so I think that's why I say if you rent first, assuming you can find a rental, you can feel that out. I mean, I know that when I rented, I did create a route and I did look in advance to see where I was going to park. And I did look in advance to see what things I wanted to see in each of those locations, kind of like you would in a normal sort of vacation. But I've let a lot of that go in the past couple of years. And now I just really let it, I kind of have a direction. Like I know that when I finally get back over there, I know I want to go south towards Lyon and Grenoble. And then, so I kind of have that direction, but I'm not going to plan it all out. No.
That's a nice thing, isn't it? You can pick if it's your first time, you can go to the campsites.
Yep.
And just get used to it. And then as you get more confident, you can then go, oh, actually, there's an overnight picnic place there. We might let's just try there just for one night. And
you really do not have to spend a penny to sleep at night, especially if you like rural. I think the camping car life is definitely geared towards enjoying nature in Europe. If you're just a city person and you just really want to be immersed in the culture of all the wonderful cities, then it definitely works. You can certainly do it, but I think it's definitely geared more to like with the campsites and the airs, and the French Passion is all rural for the most part. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the other thing that I really benefited from renting first was I'd never been in an RV before, which is what we call them in the US, a recreational vehicle. I've never even thought about being in one before. And I had to get over all of those fears that I could do it. So, and I knew there was going to be things involved, like, where do you get your water? Where does the water go? How do you change the propane tank? There's something involved with the toilet, but I have no idea how that's going to work. And am I going to be able to drive a truck, basically, and a big vehicle? And all of those things I had never done. I literally arrived at the rental depot, and somebody took me around for half an hour and showed me how to do all those things. And that rental time allowed me to get over all of those fears and question marks. And
when we rent out the vehicles, a lot of people hire a bike.
Yeah.
Because it's so handy when you park your vehicle up, if you're parking it on the edge of town, to just cycle in and everything.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I can't imagine using a camping car without a bike.
Yeah, it's one of the crucial pieces of kit. What other pieces of kit have you bought? Have you thought, that's handy?
Well, I think that Europe is great for biking routes and hiking routes. So you want to be prepared to walk, because it's beautiful. I mean, it's just, there's the beauty of Europe is incomparable, in my opinion. And we could talk a long time about places I've been. And I seriously, I've been a lot of places on this planet. And I just find Europe to be unbelievably naturally beautiful. And then you add in the history and the lifestyle. So, and the food, the appreciation of life. And so you are probably going to want to be riding a bike at times, especially when you are parking your camper outside a city. You can take public transportation in, or you can ride your bike in, or a large town, or on the edge of a village. You might want to, if it's a little bit at a distance, you might want to ride in, or you'll be doing walking. So good shoes, And then I have an inflatable kayak, and it takes me 10 minutes to pull it out of the storage, 10 minutes. And I have a functional kayak after pumping it up. And so if I'm anywhere near a pond or a lake, I've never put it on the ocean, but I can just pop it in the water, and it uses up very little space in the luggage.
Because there's loads of lakes in France, isn't there? I was really surprised when I first came over.
And I have actually just begun the idea of, because there are loads of rivers as well. Mm. And if you go into an area and you investigate just a little bit, if there's someone in the area that's you can hire for a kayak trip down the river, that tells me that I could put my kayak on that river then too. You know what I mean? The only thing I haven't figured out yet is how to transport myself from the beginning or the end. Do you know what I'm saying? Because if you ride your 10 kilometers or 20 kilometers, and you do have to get back to your camper. So Uber might help with that, or a taxi. I've not done that yet, but I know that that's another wonderful avenue to explore. And haven't you, Sally, used the little scooter? Why don't you tell us about the other thing, which is the little scooter?
The little electric scooter.
Yeah, you've used those, haven't you?
No, I haven't used. I've got an electric bike, and all I would say after my experience in July is get a helmet.
Oh, geez. Yeah, I see that scar on your forehead.
Yeah,
you
get
kind of look a little bit like Harry Potter, I might say. Because for people that are listening to this, they really can't see what I'm seeing. And it almost looks like a bit of a lightning bolt on your forehead. So Harry Potter or Henrietta might be your new nickname. Anyway, you were saying about the bike and the helmet, though.
It's been quite popular. Is these electric scooters? I saw one a guy with one in a campsite, and he was whizzing around on them. Because the nice thing about the electric scooters is you can stand on a bike. You're kind of like more committed and your clothing and what you're wearing and everything. And to just go around the campsites and everything, these electric scooters are very, very popular, and they fold up. So you don't have to worry about a bike rack on the back. You can just have a scooter that you can fold up and put in the garage bit, in the store bit, and easy. And you could visit town on them.
I think that would be a lot more practical in terms of a camping car than an electric bicycle, because the electric bicycle, you're gonna have to get it up onto the bike rack, unless you would definitely need two people to lift it.
Yeah, they're quite heavy.
When I purchased my bike, I went into the Decathlon and I looked at all the bikes and I picked the one that was the lightest.
Yeah.
And they're decent quality, but I picked the lightest one because I knew I was going to have to pick it up myself. And I've often been grateful for that insight, because it's easy to pick up, put it on and off. You don't want to have something that's going to be a pain.
No. And also to have locks on them, because otherwise they go missing, don't they? So
yeah, I've never, I've always felt safe. I've never had a fearful time. There was one time I camped. I don't remember where I was off the top of my head right now, but there was a little bit of a gypsy enclave at the site. It was an air outside of a village, and I was the only one there, and they kept looking over at me, but nothing ever happened. I think they were just wondering who I was. But
I think France is really known for being really quite safe for campers. Yes. I think the only place where you really have to be careful is if you're on the toll road airs, where you stop to have a coffee if you're going miles and miles and you just want to get there. So you're on the toll road and people try and stay there overnight. It's where the truckers stop and everything like that. And the problem with that is it's so easy for a car to come in, take what they want or do what they want, and then they're off and they're gone. But if you tend to stick to the villages and to the campsites and the off the main motorway road, you're absolutely fine. I think it's one of the safest countries in the world for that sort of thing. It's really different.
I would completely agree with that. And I don't know why you would ever want to stay at a roadside, a highway air, just because there's going to be noise all the time.
Yeah.
That's one of the beauties of the camping car. Especially you're in nature, and when it gets dark and it gets quiet and you hear the murmuring of maybe a neighboring car, but then it all gets quiet and it's lovely. And you wake up and you see a field of flowers or a lake or the spire of a Gothic church. I mean, you wake up and I open the blinds at the front of my camping car and make my morning beverage, and I'm in a unbelievably beautiful place. And then you go, but so why would I want to be at a lay-by of a highway?
No,
because there are places to stay everywhere.
You could come off for 10 minutes. You could, if you're on the motorway because you want to get somewhere, 10 minutes drive away, and you're in a quiet little village or something, aren't you? With a beautiful scenery and all sorts of things. You don't need to stay on the motorway.
It's brilliant. I don't even think we should be telling everybody about this way of life, because I don't want it to get too crowded. Yeah, the people in America here that I talk to, they think that I'm a little bit crazy. They've never heard of such a thing.
Do you not? Do you know in the US?
No. There's nothing like that here, other than really large camping cars, like big, mobile
really
homes. They're very big. They're the size of a bus.
Oh.
I have been seeing more and more that are getting smaller, but your options for sleeping are entirely campsites. 100%.
Oh, really? You
All
can't
there is.
you can't pull up by the side of a lake and
No.
oh.
That's why they don't know anything about what's happening in Europe and the lifestyle that I have when I come over. There's nothing like it. No.
I'll have to put a photo, because I went paddleboarding near a lake, and I went in one of the tiny little fourgons, the little vans, and it meant that I could get pretty much on the beach. I wasn't quite on the beach. There was a picnic site, but it was fairly close to the beach, and so that was beautiful. It was just like what you said. I woke up in the middle of the night and I looked out, and it was a full bright moon shining on the lake. And you can just go, you can go and swim in at that time.
You just kind of pinch yourself, because you wonder, why was I living that other way? You know what I mean? Where you're just going through the motions of a routine. And when I'm in Europe, it's just every day keeps unfolding into the next great experience. I can't believe I've been locked out for the year of 2020, but as soon as the gates open, I will be back. Yes, I'm really looking forward to it. And it's also very inexpensive, I find, owning a camping car. I really think you only have two major expenses. You have your insurance. See how I brought forth this topic? I know you're about ready to bring this up. Expense. Category. Can you edit this out a little bit? Trim it up.
You're fine. You keep going. I'm just going to sit back and let you talk, because you're doing a brilliant job of it. So yeah, you've got the expense. So I would imagine the main yearly one is going to be the insurance, isn't it?
Yeah, insurance, which, depending on your exchange rate, could be US dollars, might be $700 to $1,000. And then I would say gasoline. That's the or petrol, diesel. What do you want to call it?
Diesel.
Diesel.
We
Your diesel, and that's really only related to how far and how often you want to be moving. I mean, that doesn't have to be expensive.
No.
I've been traveling. It's been a little bit more. Like I'll maybe spend $100 US every 6 or 7 days, because I was moving every single day and making distances. But it doesn't have to be that way. You can linger. And flaneur, what's that? The French word for just roaming.
Yeah, just going around, and then because you've got a fairly new car, a new vehicle, you don't have the MOT for the first 4 years, and it comes under a warranty, doesn't it, for 10 years? So if there's anything wrong with like the engine or anything like that, it's covered, isn't it? So you just pull it in and say fix it.
Now there are two aspects to your vehicle if you should buy one. I mean, you've got the engine, which is the car part, the truck part. And then you have the RV part, and it looks all integrated, but it really is two different companies. And if you do buy a brand new one, it's no different than buying a brand new of anything that has a lot of aspects. So you've got your bathroom, your kitchen things, your lighting, so if it's, my point is that if it's brand new, you should probably anticipate that there might be a few things that need to be repaired or just, because they're not tested out as in driving. You're turning on the water 5 times a day yourself. And, some things are going to, I don't want to say the word break, but need attention until you get all that sorted out. And that's
probably a lot of people that buy a vehicle from us. What they do is they'll hang around for a week. They'll drive around. They'll get used to the vehicle, and they need it. Some of them come back every day, going, "How do I do this?" Or "This has fallen off," or "This screws run loose." And so for the first week, we're just kind of like test driving it, getting used to it, tightening things up.
A lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. I did not do that, but that. Sense.
Yeah, you were one of those ones that just disappeared and we never saw you for a week on end. But generally speaking, most people.
I'm always trying to, this is the evolution of my experience. I'm always trying to cram a lot in, because I'm still trying to maintain a job and a life in the United States. And so it does become more like a vacation.
Yeah.
But as I go, I'm getting to the point where I'm seriously thinking about retirement, and the joy is going to be to only buy a one-way ticket someday. I'm so looking forward to that, just not knowing when I'll return and just kind of roaming until I want to go back. I mean, that's just sounds like a wonderful lifestyle, and I want to try it out. I'm getting
But,
there.
we do have people that do that. They buy a one-way ticket, they come over, they go off in their vehicle for 4, 5, 6 months, and then they come back and drop their key off.
Well, they're clearly retired. See, I'm not retired yet.
It depends on the job, though. We also have people that are very, very lucky, very, very lucky, and because they work at the same time, all they need is the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
You can get the USB chargers in the vehicle and all that sort of thing, and they're away. Let me tell you what you bought. Your vehicle is a 590 MF, a Knaus Weinsberg 590 MF on a Fiat chassis.
Yeah, and it's great for 2 people.
But you know what? I love your vehicle. That's my favourite. You bought my favourite vehicle.
Sometimes I imagine there being another person in there with me, and I think it would be a little tight. So but if you were intimately close, I mean, this was somebody that you had a close relationship with, it would be perfect. If you were in there with your mother for 5 weeks, you would inevitably be saying, "Mom, just go sit down over there and let me use this little walk space for a while." It would get tight.
You do get into the habit of like moving out the way so that people can walk past, and dipping into the shower and dipping into the little alcove by the door.
But that's relating to the one that I have, because I knew that I would be traveling solo. It's perfect. It's perfect. Yeah. Now, if I knew that I was going with another person, or I'd want to have people come and stay for a while, then you would need a bigger one.
But the other thing that we suggest to families that do that is to take a tent with them. So essential kit for you then is a bike, hiking boots.
Don't need to hike a trail, but you definitely would be walking into villages, around villages. And I do recommend there's and I'm sure anyone that comes to France knows about the most beautiful village list. And that can make sort of an itinerary for you. Sometimes I've come over and just hopped from one beautiful village to the next.
Yeah.
And know which ones they are. You can get a map, you can get a book, or you can just use the internet to identify where they are.
One of the itineraries I'd like to do is I've got a book which is Wine and Cheese.
Oh, that's lovely.
So you could go to a region like the Jura, and there's the cheese.
You don't really have to go very far to. Wine and cheese is ubiquitous.
I mean, you've got to get it right. They've got to go together, otherwise you're in trouble.
Have you had any success using, the French Passion Network? Not only includes farms and livestock and cheese, but a lot of wineries are in that list. Have you had any luck hopping around to wineries through French?
I went to visit a winery not far from here, because we're not far from Chablis. So I did that, but that was that Rue de Vigneron, which was another app, and you can pre-book them. You could make an itinerary across the whole of France with just going to winery after winery after winery,
and then you just slide in a few late. Yeah, and it just goes on and on and on. It's amazing, really. It's just amazing.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to add, Deborah? And what's your hot tip?
Hot tips. I think the thing that made the biggest difference for me was really committing myself to Park for Night. That app, if you had to have one app, that's the one, because it's gonna search by where you want to go or where you are and give you a lot of choices.
A lot of people have said that.
Yeah, Camper Contact is really good. And Camper Contact is also very good. And I do have hot news, because I got the email just this morning that French Passion now has an app, and I've already downloaded it.
Oh, wow.
French Passion the app is launched. It's available for Android and, iPhone users. The only complaint I have with French Passion, maybe they'll listen to this someday, is that, the descriptions for each site remains in French.
Yeah.
The directions and some of it's in English, even though you've selected English. But if you want to really read about the destinations that you can choose from, it remains in France. I always have to turn on my Google Translate and then hold it up from one phone to the other to read the descriptions, but the map is all on there, and you can select sites and you can navigate through it from the little bit that I've looked at it already this morning. And that's a big thing. We've had French Passion for a while, but they have not had an app that you could navigate through and open up, and it locates you and shows you what's around you. That's I think going to be a huge plus. And that just happened today.
Well, it just happens. So while you're there, then are you planning what you're going to do next time? And you can sit there feeling all warm and fuzzy and go, "Ooh, next time I'm coming over."
You'll have to edit this out too, but I mean, this is my little rocking chair that I don't ever sit in over here. And look what sits on it. Can you see? This is a map of France.
Oh no, you've got a map of France in on it.
This is actually this map is a great map. I picked it up one day. It's the most beautiful villages.
The most beautiful.
So, yeah, and so each one of these little thingies is the beautiful village, and I can see where I am, and then kind of go, oh, I could maybe hop around to these, and then down here I've got French Passion sitting here. Yeah. I've got, it's just all collecting dust now because it's a mausoleum.
Oh, you're going to be. I've got a feeling you'll be over here in October. The weather's still good in October. You'll be over here.
I actually do have a feeling that I might be there. You're right.
We have started having people coming over. Actually, we had a couple come over last week, and they picked up their new vehicle, and the one that they've just gone off. They said we'll be back when we've had enough. So I don't know how long they're going to go. Sorry?
Did they come through the UK?
Yeah. And we've got another couple. When's he coming? End of September, third week in September. Somebody else is coming over. So they are starting to come over. I think they've started to go, oh, what the hell? We're just going to come over. Now it's a quarantine thing. See, the thing about the motorhomes is you can quarantine yourself in the motorhome, and you're quite safe as well. If you don't want to be a sort of person that goes to the restaurants and what have you, the motorhome's just perfect because you're completely self-contained. And you can just go somewhere, and then you don't have to go to a campsite. You can just, like we said, go to the side of a lake or something and see nobody if you don't want to. And just...
You could hang out down at San Julian de Sus. You're over it, Yeah, you're absolutely right. But they haven't opened that up as a possibility. But I think that is probably the progression. I don't think they're just going to pull off restrictions. I think they're going to ease their way into it. So...
This is Sally from EuroCampingCars.com. Thank you for listening to our podcast. Tune in again next time, and we'll see you later. Bye.